What was the first moment when you thought, I'm going to get into content?
I was 13 years old, actually.
Wow.
School ain't for me. I want to find out what I want to do. And it just clicked. This YouTube channel. And all of a sudden, people were obsessed. Like, going to games and showing people the experience. Oh, it's lovely. It is lovely. Then my dad saw the opportunity to get involved in the content. He started popping up in the Bolton videos. And people liked that character of Thogden.
Yeah. What do you think you did differently to get that growth so quickly?
Quantity, not quality.
Really? Remind us of some of the names you've had on your channel.
Met Kaka, played Drogba, met Lionel Messi. Oh. That was the best day of my life. First thing I said to him was...
But you also are someone that I see that does get quite a bit of hate on social media. Yeah. Do you think that some people do misunderstand you?
Oh, people won't believe that I say this, but...
Hello, welcome along to another episode of Inside the Industry Unfiltered with myself, Adam Smith. Alongside me today, I'm going to call this man one of the country's biggest football influencers. In terms of subscribers, I think that's accurate.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Nice to be on here.
Yeah, you like
Finally.
that intro?
Yeah, it's nice to see you making a pod. You've had some amazing guests, so it's nice to join your incredible array of talent so far.
Thanks, mate. And you actually, we saw each other at Wembley, the last game, and you said, I want to get on the pod,
I
do. I thought, fair enough.
Yeah.
So here you are.
I've been watching the episodes. I love what you did with Chris MD was great.
Yeah.
But I feel like, so many of them, especially people don't know where the podcast is, but it's great positioning because a lot of the YouTubers live around here. So you can get them on.
Yeah.
And
if you can help me get any more on that,
I'll do my best. Yeah. No, we can do it.
Let's have a chat because I feel like you've got such an incredible following, a cult following, but also there's people on you. I feel like you're slightly misunderstood in certain aspects of social media. And also there's so much that we forget that you have achieved and so many people you've worked with. So there's a lot to get into with this.
There's so much, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's only right to start with your childhood and growing up. Whereabouts did you grow up?
Yeah, so I was born in Harrogate.
Yeah.
So I'm actually Yorkshire lad born on my passport, which, it's a shame being a Bolton fan because that's Lancashire.
Yeah,
but
interesting.
Yeah, I moved to Russia for 6 to 8 months when I was a baby because my mum and dad they had work out there, and then moved back to Greater Manchester. And that's obviously where I started going to Bolton games from a young age. Stayed there till about 10, 11 years old. Spent the rest of my time in London. I'm now 23. So
wow.
Yeah.
So you half Russian?
Yes.
On your mum's side?
My mum's Russian. My dad's English.
Wow.
And they met in Russia. St. Petersburg, actually, the second biggest city.
And that's why your dad goes back to Russia. Does he still?
Not right now. It's pretty difficult.
Yeah, of course.
So my grandma's out there. We can't really see her right now because it's difficult.
Yeah.
But I obviously love where I come from, and I think it's beautiful. When I get the chance to go back, when things get a bit easier, I definitely will.
Yeah. So why Bolton then? If you're Leeds, you're Manchester. Obviously, no disrespect to Bolton. I got a lot of love for Bolton, but there were other teams in a nearer vicinity.
Well, I don't know about you. Why do you support Tottenham?
It's a great question, actually. My journey's pretty mad. My dad is a Wolves fan for a really bizarre reason. He was in back in the day. There was like Cubs and Scouts, and he was a Wolf Cub, and found out there was a team called Wolves. So anyway. My dad's got 4 sons. So I've got 2 brothers and an older half brother.
Wow.
He then moved to Watford. So my older half brother's a Watford fan. I then supported Tottenham just because he was like, I'm not going to impart Wolves. You can support whoever you want. And my younger 2 brothers support Arsenal and Chelsea. So it is absolute
every week you get a message
in my household. Yeah, and obviously growing up,
half the fixture list is battling out with your brothers.
So it's a weird story. But you and your whole family are Bolton, am I right? Your dad's
Bolton.
So
the reason I'm Bolton is because of my dad and my granddad.
Right.
And he's fuming now because he's like looking at the video. He's like, where's all the Bolton videos?
Yeah.
But he's, you can't change that. It's the family tree.
Yeah.
And growing up near being 25-minute drive from the stadium, you go to a lot of the games. My first game was a Bolton match. I forgot which one. My dad didn't make a note of it. Fuming. So I don't actually know the game I went to first, but he took me there. Obviously, if you know Bolton Stadium, it's really nice. It's state of the art. We built it for Premier League. It's way out of the depth of League One. And you walk out there from the turnstiles and you just look around and go, wow, this is that. So Bolton gained my love for football. I actually grew up as a kid not liking it. I preferred Formula One. I preferred...
So football?
Yeah. Wow. I preferred cars. I used to look out the window and go, red car. That was my favourite thing. But then football, from going to a Bolton game, I fell in love with it.
When did you get into content then? When was the first moment you decided to vlog a game? Or I should say, what was the first moment when you thought, I'm going to get into content?
13 years old, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'd moved to England. So I'd moved to London from Manchester. But I was in school and I never really enjoyed it. I didn't really get the grades in class. I had a good, close group of friends who all loved football. A couple of them had like Twitter accounts, Instagram accounts. They're all trying to start little things, little pages. And mine was the YouTube channel. Yeah. And we all used to help each other. And at first, I didn't really tell my parents. I kind of hid it from them. Didn't want to tell my sister.
Right. Is your sister older than you?
1 year younger.
1 year younger, sorry.
Yeah, but she's now doing a master's uni in New York. So she's doing, she's massively gone down the education route.
Yeah.
I haven't.
So very different then.
Very different.
Yeah.
And she likes football not as much as me and my dad. Yeah. So it's pretty funny. But going back to where it all started, it was just when I started to love football, but also watch YouTube content online.
Right.
I thought, I want to have my own twist on this.
Yeah.
So I watched a lot. I learned a lot, but then I started something completely different.
Right.
So I watched a lot of 2 Sync FIFA, but I started real life football content.
Right.
There weren't many people doing what I wanted to do, so that's why I started.
So spotting a niche.
So for some reason, when I was young, I actually started talking about random things like I did some Segway challenges in my mate's house, and then I did like a FIFA challenge, and that never did well because it was too saturated. And I did football, and all of a sudden people were obsessed, like going to games and showing people the experience. And that just turned into something bigger. Then my dad saw the opportunity to get involved in the content. He started popping up in the Bomb videos, and people liked that character of Thogden. Yeah. So it all just snowballed, and I thought, well, I'm going to keep going with this.
Yeah. What was the reaction from your family when you started? Because I imagine the first time at 13, you were just doing it as a bit of a passion project, something you were enjoying. You said that you consume YouTube content anyway. What was the reaction from your mum, dad, and your sister? Was it the same? Was it different when you started doing content?
When I first started, it was difficult to make my older generations of family understand what's actually going on.
Interesting.
Like my grandma, granddad.
Yeah.
But it's amazing now because they get to see everything I'm doing.
Yeah.
So they get to keep up with me without even. Yeah, it's really cool. But my mum was always like, focus on work, focus on getting into university. Nobody in the family doesn't go to university. You have to get in, etc. So that was quite a difficult battle when I got to about 18 and I had, my grades weren't good enough to go to the universities that I wanted to go to, but some of them changed their grades lower there because they liked my what's it called, personal statement about my YouTube and my business on the side. I got a good result in business A level as well. I got an A star, one of the highest in my year. So they saw potential and there was, I think it was Bath who actually lowered the grades for me to go, Bath Uni, but I rejeced everything because it was during lockdown.
Wow.
Yeah. I just wanted to fully focus on the channel. So I convinced my mum. My dad was by that point quite a well-known face on the channel and he was on my side. He was like, well, you're making money.
Is that because he was on the channel and he wanted to grow himself or he understood more because he was in
business? Because my dad's history, what people don't know is my dad's history is in investments and numbers. He's a very numerical guy. He's not, some people are more numbers, some people are more creative. He's more numbers. Right. And I was more of the creative. So our mix was great. Yeah. And we both loved talking about football and going to games together. So we were able to convince my mum that I could take a year out and just focus on it because it was lockdown and it wasn't even that good. You'd have to do uni from home. And that year out is where it really started to go. Yeah.
That's interesting you're saying about your dad sort of understanding or having different relationships with your parents about YouTube, because so many people that have sat in that chair have said that. So I'm right in thinking, because what's fascinating about your dad is, because obviously we know him as Thogden, and he's gone on to have a good career in YouTube, but he was very successful, right? I'm thinking in his previous business career. I mean, give us insight into how successful he was.
Wow, it's actually crazy. People don't know, but my dad has been like a chairman of several companies in Russia and in Europe, and he's actually built himself up as this like big. He just helps businesses, and previously he was an auditor as well, accountant. So he's had a massive history in finance. So for him to switch to being on a camera, because he always went to bowling games. We always did, even before all the video stuff. When I started doing it, he was like, "Oh, your numbers are good here. Like you could turn this into a business kind of thing." And he would remind me and help me, and actually, when we go to games, he'd always be willing to take part in them. And I definitely think, I'm so grateful to have a dad like I have. I'd not be where I am today, business-wise, mentally, everything. He's just, since day dot, he's backed me and supported me, and he's clearly seen that I'm enjoying what I'm doing and thought, well, that's all that counts. If you enjoy what you're doing and you're having fun, I do still to this day, I still love what I do, making videos and meeting people around the world. And that for me is why I'm so lucky. I'm so grateful that he's done that for me.
That's amazing. That was a part of it as well, because it sounds like he was incredibly successful in his previous career. Is he still doing that job?
He still has investments, but now he just fully helps out with the channel. Right. And so he works from home basically.
Did that help then? I'm gathering it was you had quite a good privileged upbringing. Is there more or less pressure on the fact that that if it doesn't work out, there's other routes for you to take because your dad was so successful? I imagine he could help you in other ways. I
felt a lot of pressure for not going to university because it had to work.
Right.
Because if I mess up and I don't go uni, then I let down the family Like, I've let down the family.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, so I knew that I had to smash it, but I never, especially growing up, now it's less, but I had this tunnel vision where nothing would get in the way. Like, I knew where I could get to, and that's where I am today, and nothing would stop it. And I would, if something doesn't work out, I'd get up the next day and go again. And if you have that mentality, how can you fail? Because you go again the next day and you keep trying until it works to get to where you want to go. And that tunnel vision was able to block out all the people in school trying to say it's not going to work, the teachers that didn't believe in me.
Did you have that?
My mum who told me to go to university. Yeah, I had all of that.
What were the teachers saying and your school classmates? It's an interesting insight from your family, but I imagine your mates at that age, content was everywhere. They were trying to get into it as well.
It's funny because it's at a point where YouTube was the way, TikTok wasn't a thing when I first made it on YouTube.
Yeah.
It was a big gamble. There were some big guys and that was it. It wasn't a cool thing to do YouTube. When you now it's a little bit nicer. You get a channel and you start to grow it.
Yeah.
So going through that in school was difficult. Some people will have a laugh at you because they see everything you do.
Yeah.
And they know everything you do. So they can joke about it in school. And they'll put the videos on in class and the teachers will go, "What's that?" And then the word gets around in the teachers' houses and they all know. And, and it's kind of like, you've got to be able to not think too much of it. I never overthought anything in life.
Really?
I never overthought anything.
Is that easy to do though at a young age? Because you're at a very developmental age there.
Yeah.
And you're putting everything out there.
It was
your
weird.
Views and
Smithy, I used to go home at about 16, 17. And my friends would be at parties and stuff. And I'd go home and think, I want to know how to build my future business. I want to know.
At
and
the
I
age
don't
of
know
16,
why.
you
I
thought
don't
that?
know why.
Wow.
But I just went home and thought, look, I can't, school ain't for me. This ain't for me. I know that I'm not going to have an answer until I'm like after uni. And that's too long for me. I want to find it out now. I want to find out what I want to do. And it just clicked. This YouTube channel, it started to work. And then I started to adapt content. And when it started to build up, the earnings so I could put more time into it and convince people, this is really what I want to do. That's when I realized that when I was younger, this is what I was building towards. This is my thing. I just found the thing that I needed to do. It's weird.
It's amazing you're talking about that. And I'm guessing that a lot of the teachers were saying to you, this isn't going to work. Or this.
No, loads of teachers were like, well, good luck falling back on this. It's just because there is no history. There's no. They'd always tell you that. Well, when in the past has it worked out for TV makes sense all this, but YouTube it's like there's no history in YouTube. There's no what happens after YouTube.
Yeah,
that's always what the older generation ask me. And you know what? Still to this day, I don't know what's after YouTube, but I'll take every opportunity and day as it comes.
Yeah. It's amazing hearing that mindset because you're still incredibly young. For a lot of people that have sat in that chair have said, Robbie, for instance, and James Alcott and Spencer, that they've grinded for years to get to it. I mean, it's amazing looking at your subs count relative because you're only 23 still. So it's amazing how quickly you've built your community. And I think a lot of that comes down to your mindset at the age of 16 because I bet 90% of your friends were at parties or were.
Oh, they were. Yeah. And it was tempting for me to go, but I just never saw it. I was never that interested by it. I just never wanted to. I wanted to build something bigger.
Yeah.
I get a really good feeling when I see a video do well and I see the comments and people go, wow.
Buzz from
last night I'm seeing the comments and these Villa fans are going, wow, I had so many drinks last night and I actually get to see what it's like in the stadium because you were there. And I get all these comments saying like you've just documented our biggest day since '82.
Aston Villa by Munich.
And I see those comments and that gives me a buzz.
Yeah.
That little thing. So the little comments of videos over the years, that's what made me feel good. It wasn't going out. It wasn't getting hammered. And for me, that's what made this channel work. And I gained that motivation from a young age and I never changed. And I just I loved the thrill of growing in subscribers and seeing the opportunity in views. And yeah, it was cool. Because football's such a massive market, Smithy. You know this. Like,
so I agree.
You've seen some of our
a lot of competition,
our Saturday social clips have gone mad as well. And
it helps when Rory's on and he talks about Haaland.
I love that. We've had a few with Rory. It's funny, we've not done many episodes with Rory, but there's so many little moments I've been clipped up.
I need to get Rory on here, actually, just to...
Well, you weren't on with me when I did the Ronaldo one, the Ronaldo statement.
The Ronaldo statement.
Oh, that was at the World Cup, Qatar. You weren't
No, we were doing shows from Sky during the World Cup. Yeah.
Because that was another one that went completely bonkers. Yeah. But I just love the buzz off that.
You do love the buzz, don't you?
Yeah, like people will give you stick and I just laugh at it. I love it. I'm like, I want to prove these people wrong. And then Ronaldo had a stinker and I'm like, yes.
I do
Going back to all the comments.
I know the clip you're talking about. I know the clip you're talking about now.
Yeah.
So that's, you've alluded to some of the names you've worked with and people there. And we're going to go on to talk about some of the people you've collaborated with and some of the stories because there are some stories that you haven't told as well, which I'm excited to get into. But when was the moment you knew that this was a career for you? Because a lot of this is just, I didn't want to go to a party. I wanted to upload a YouTube channel, go to a Bolton game. What was the one video that sort of you realised, wow, this is a big moment for me and I can do this full time?
I think when so it was in my final year of secondary school.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like serious exams, but I had to, there was a few months where it was post-exam season.
Yeah.
But you still had to go into school. But the Russia 2018 World Cup was coming, and I knew that because my dad speaks Russian, used to live there,
right.
and my mum's from there. My grandma lives there as well, so I could have stayed at her place when I go. I didn't want to miss it. But it was crossover with school. I'm sure a lot of people watching have the same thing. When Euros and World Cups come around, it crosses over with uni or school, whatever you guys have. And I asked my dad very nicely, can you send an email to the head of the school to give me the time off, not just to go, but to start something bigger.
So you had a strategy in place. That wasn't you going as a fan.
Yeah,
that was a strategy in place to go, this is my opportunity.
Exactly. And first we had to go through the housemaster.
Right.
So the housemaster was the first person we had to, and he didn't really want me to do it. He wanted me to stay in school. And go
just to confirm,
by the way, this was after
you had to
exams.
miss school for this.
Yeah, this was after exams. This was like going in to do extracurricular. Nothing. Like one day you go to all just boring stuff, pointless.
But stay in school, kids.
Stay in school, yeah.
If you're watching this.
But post exams, we all know that the last couple months
you've done the hard graft.
You're just chilling. You're doing things like drama and I'm sorry. I got the time off because my head understood that this is a massive opportunity for me and the videos previously. And it would be fair to say that was the moment I realized, the first big month where I was like, okay, wow, a lot of people are watching the videos, subscribing, talking on social media. I'm growing on Instagram. Wait, on Instagram? Why am I growing on Instagram? Like that's not even where I'm posting on.
Yeah.
That was the month where I was like, okay, I can do this. I love it as well.
So that was the light bulb moment for you.
Traveling, watching England, going abroad, we gained a massive Russian audience because they were like, wow, no one's ever really come to our country and said nice things.
Yeah.
And we made loads of new friends in Russia. I went to see my grandma in her, where she lives in her hometown. That's quite a special moment for me because first time I do it since I was remembering it because I was so young before. And that month I grew to 100,000 subscribers. And I think anyone that has, when you build something, anyone that's built anything, the first 100,000 is a lot harder than the next 100,000.
Yes, everyone says that, yeah.
And I completely agree. Yeah. So that opportunity of the Russia World Cup changed everything.
It's quite poignant in your life, that, because it just happened to be in Russia where you're half Russian, you've got family there. It was also quite a poignant moment in the England era, the Southgate era. It was like the first moment sort of England arrived under Southgate and they had great success. I know people will say we haven't won a tournament, but it has been a successful period other than winning a trophy. And that was the first tournament I felt the country was engaged again together with the England team for the first time in a long while.
Since
and
Iceland
that sort of coincided, I was at that game. And that coincided with sort of your journey, which is quite applicable being in the country that you're half from, which is quite amazing, really, isn't it?
I've lived in England my whole life. I feel English. I feel completely English. It's like one of those things that like maybe I would have played for Russia if the England team's too good. Matty Cash from Poland, right? But the thing is, going there, it just meant for me to go see the family. And that month of content, I realized I'm doing what I love. It was like everything I was doing, making the content, going to the games. I only covered England. In the future tournaments, I was able to cover other nations, and that was even better. But that was purely just to mix travel with football. And after that, the school were like, wow, we want you to now do a talk about it. We want you to
ask that.
Yeah, the school were really happy that they allowed me to go do that. They felt a part in it.
Yeah.
Because they allowed me to go.
It reflected well on them as well because they're a part of it. How did your life change after the Russia World Cup? Was that the moment when you felt, right, this is my career now, I know that? Because I know that it sounds like you've always believed in it, but I don't know if you agree with this. You all have hopes and dreams and stuff, and until you actually have walked in those shoes or been there, there's always a moment when you realise, actually, I can do this. Did that feel like the moment for you when you knew this was a career?
Absolutely, yeah. I felt like in the build-up to that tournament, there was a lot of hype about which fans were going to go. I went and started doing daily videos, and it was at that moment where I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. There's nothing in school or jobs that I fully devoted apart from being a footballer.
Yeah.
And that was just off the cards. So from that moment on, it was like, I want to be a YouTuber. I want to do this. And I never thought of anything else. And I barely did homework in my last few years. I'm sorry. Like, I'll be honest. I'll be completely honest. And to be fair, a few of my teachers at A-levels knew that. They were going to get half-assed work from me.
They could spot that,
Yeah, so they allowed me, a couple of the nice teachers that understood what I was building on the side were like, okay, we'll let this guy basically not hand in his work.
And as your channel was growing during the World Cup, am I right in thinking you did work with England?
I did,
some stuff with Jesse Lingard. So does that come from them noticing what you're doing and then therefore more opportunities come your way?
They just noticed the videos and they were like, wow, we want to connect him with someone just to, jump in and get involved and collaborate. And then Jesse Lingard called me. And the one England game I didn't get tickets for, Jesse Lingard calls and he's got them for me. Wow. It was actually a pointless game in the end. It was England-Belgium. It was the group stage match where we were already qualified. And I think we lost that day. It wasn't great in the end.
Yeah.
But
we knew the route, didn't we? I know what you mean.
Yeah, we knew the route. But that moment was special. Being on the phone to him. He was in the den, the Lions den, calling me. And I think that was one of the first times I spoke to a Premier League footballer at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, goosebumps
the buzz
feeling.
that you must get from that.
Yeah, ridiculous. I was on some Russian Wi-Fi and it was going in and out. I was really worried. But luckily we got the clip and everyone was really happy for me. So that was a trip to look back on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really hope that one day I can meet all the friends I made in Russia again. Because as much as everything that goes on, I feel like we as people get along with them so much. We both love football. And you got to think about Russia. They can't even play in any international tournaments. Zenit, my team in Zenit, that's my second team after Bolton.
Right.
They can't play in the Champions League anymore. They always did well. They got to the Europa League final against Rangers.
Yeah.
They played in Manchester, I think. Or was it Birmingham? It was somewhere in England.
Yes, I think you're right.
Yeah, they played in Manchester. And, now that's all wiped out. They can't do anything with UEFA competition. So it's a shame for their people. Because they're nothing to do with this war going on. So it's really unfortunate, and I can't see half my family too. So
how is that for you, the fact that you can't see that side of your family?
It's really tough. I don't know how close everyone is. I don't know how close you are with your grandparents, but for me, I'm really close with my grandma from Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the world to me. She's the sweetest person in the world. She'll do anything for me. It's like Russian culture as well, that the son is almost adored in traditional family.
Okay.
Yeah, so my mum and my grandma, they're all just every move I do. It's great I have the channel so they can see how I'm doing.
Yeah.
And she can watch it from Russia. But now YouTube's banned, so she has to use a VPN. Wow. It's crazy. It's almost like a different planet over there right now.
So that must be hard for your family.
I can barely connect with her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's definitely tough for the family. On a personal note, we kind of all split up. So hoping that things change in the future, man.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't realize that part of your journey actually, and how the challenges that you have and keeping in touch with that part of your family. The one question I wanted to ask about that is, what do you feel like you're doing differently to? Because you go to football now, everyone has got their phone out, they're taking clips, they're filming. You see a penalty, half the people behind the goal will be filming it, even if they're influencers or not, just to put it on Instagram or TikTok or X or whatever.
Yeah,
loads of people are vlogging, loads of people are going to get. What do you think you did differently to get that growth so quickly at the World Cup specifically? What's the secret to your success?
Quantity, not quality.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
People love quality. They do. It's true. But on YouTube...
So you're saying your content's rubbish, but there's lots of it?
Pretty much. I posted enough where I offered something for everyone.
Fine.
Now I've changed that. I had to change that. You get to a stage
but
where...
there must be a quality aspect to what you're posting as well.
Absolutely. There is.
But quantity was the key
in Russia,
for you.
I was the one editing. So I'd finish a game and they get my laptop out and then sit there for 2-3 hours just going away at it. And I'd be knackered, wake up the next morning, go again, find something. I was really on the move. Now I've got an editor and I've updated the quality. But I was getting so tired from the travel and going around and being in different climate that the quality could not be sustained without more money.
Got you.
So, because I'm doing it off my own budgets and they're very small when you start, you have to edit yourself, you have to graft, you have to go into the night working. But because I enjoyed it, I still enjoyed it, and it was my work, I had to do it. Yeah. Now I've taught an editor how I edited back then, and he's now given me updated touches, so it's great. But back then it was all or nothing mode.
And the time frame must be important as well, because you've got to get a video out.
Everything.
Soon after, because as soon as one game's done, there's a game the next day.
Yes, you're almost, those tournaments, you're almost daily vlogging. Yeah. And you're going to games in the day, you're working through the night, and if they're evening games, you're staying up till 2-3 a.m.
You're not knackered during that.
Oh, absolutely, mate. Every day. But I loved it. I was doing something I loved. So I wasn't thinking about being tired. I wasn't thinking about having a day off.
And the adrenaline gets you through it. I know what you mean by that.
Yeah, people... Always, I get it on a daily basis. Oh, you live the dream. I really do, man. I'm so lucky, and I want to ride that wave as much as I can because I'm a sports lover. I love football, and being able to travel. Come on, it's the dream.
I know what you mean about the tournaments. I was lucky enough to host the official England podcast for the Euros that England got to the final at against Italy, which I know you were at that game as well, Wembley. And it was the official podcast in camp. It was done remotely because of COVID, but it was an episode every single day. And we had a current England player and a legend or an opposition previewing. The names that we had were incredible, but the adrenaline buzz gets you through that because it's just such a. I mean, I absolutely loved it.
You've never done Lions Den?
No, I did bits for Lions Den while we were there, but they had Lions Den that was being hosted, and they had the official England podcast. So Josh was doing Lions Den, I was hosting the podcast, which was remote, but it was just such a buzz every day to wake up and go, you've got Gareth Southgate, you've got Harry Kane or John Terry or Peter Schmeichel.
That's the dream
Denmark.
one day, I reckon.
It was amazing, and it's testament to companies like that, like the FA, like yourself, that can get the content. It blew my mind how much content they were getting out, the quality aspect on a daily basis.
And they do an amazing
so much
job of that.
Respect for people that do that because it is tiring, but
whoever
people
in the
love
marketing
to see
team,
it.
That's the thing. We don't know who makes these decisions, but connecting like creators who love it and players who, when they're playing and they've got spare time, if you just put them with a creator and make some content and have a nice idea, you can have this content that stays there forever. Yeah. And you make a friendship forever. And those little things, as you say, like going into the England camp during the Euros, speaking to a few players, that's in the moment. It's just the best feeling, isn't it? Because you feel part of it.
Yeah, that's and you're telling a story to a lot of people that aren't lucky enough to be at games and want to know everything that's going on.
I had that feeling the most, right? First thing after lockdown. Do you remember the first game back? It was Champions League final in Porto, Chelsea, Man City.
Yeah, the one Chelsea won.
Yeah. So Gazprom, who were a sponsor at the time, it's one of the Russian companies. They called me up. We're like, Theo, we want to send you, and we want you to do a video with Deco.
I've done a video with Deco.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, I'm allowed to go on a plane, and they were like, you have to make sure you've got the jab and you've got your statement to bring it on the flight, etc. And I was like, of course. No, and my mum was really worried because I was traveling for the first time. But to go to Porto, by the way, unbelievable city. And to meet Deco and then cover the game, Chelsea, Man City. There was a few fans as well, both. It was
it was not full. It was at the time when there was limited capacity, wasn't it? I think.
Right, but to show people what it's like to live again after being locked away, it was just special for my audience and also for me.
Yeah. So, I was going to ask you about the challenges of lockdown because obviously your big bang on your channel came just before lockdown. So did lockdown hinder you or help you with your channel?
So it hindered at first, and I realized I had to adapt. Right. So I started live streaming. Now, as you know, if you think of big creators now, they have to be live streamers. Yeah. We're talking like Speed, we're talking like Angry Ginge, we're talking Danny Aarons, the guys from America, Aiden Ross, Kai Cenat, they're all streamers. All the newcomers are streamers.
Why do you think that is?
Because attention spans are going down. So you need to be watching. So to be able to maintain that for longer than a 10-second TikTok clip is watching people live. And there is another thing, it's a real thing. If you watch someone live, you feel like you're their online friend. You feel connected to the person you're watching. You actually become friends with them, yet they don't know who you are. I forgot the word for it, but it's a key word. And when you live stream, you gain a massive amount of an audience, like a cult following. And they'll follow you no matter what, because they've spent hours with you, day to day. They've watched you on a screen, and they really get to know you as a person, how you act, your jokes, your reactions, everything. Yeah, interesting. And they follow you because they're basically your online friend. What's crazy is the creator doesn't know who they are. Anyway, I had a massive growth in that following. In the middle of lockdown, when nobody could go outside, because everybody was just on their phones playing whatever. And I was streaming the matches. Do you remember that Premier League season where there was no fans?
Yeah, vividly, yeah.
So I was streaming all the games with my dad. I got really close to my dad during the content. I mean, I always do, but it was a reason just to have a laugh with him, have a beer and watch the football. And my audience, it was amazing how close I got with my audience then.
So I think that actually helped you in the long run, you think?
Yes, because I adapted. I did what I could do. I couldn't go to games, so I thought, all right, let's mix it up. And by doing that, by forcing change, I was able to... And I would recommend anybody, whatever business you're in, force change. And it might not feel right at first, but what happens is you open up a new audience, and it might not happen on day one, but if you keep going at it and you see results, you create something bigger, something broader. And I definitely want to restart. I'm sure some people will be watching this thinking, Theo, you should bring back those Premier League streams. Yeah. I really am thinking about it because And maybe it's not on the main channel. Maybe it's on Twitch or I love YouTube. I always stick to YouTube, so maybe it's on the second channel. But I the content and connection I felt with people on that,
really?
And I had this guy at Porto at the end of lockdown when the fans, he was crying after Chelsea had won the Champions League, and he was like, I was really depressed during lockdown. And your videos for the live streams throughout the season have really helped me get through some dark times when there was no one there for me. You were speaking with your dad and having someone to talk to pretty much like over a screen, that connection that you built, that helped me get through very low moments.
That's amazing when you hear that, isn't it? Like that's bigger than numbers.
I was crying.
Do you know
I was like tearing up.
Yeah.
We were outside Estadio de Dragao.
Yeah.
Chelsea had just won the Champions League. And he still had the ability to say that to me when he spotted me. And I was like, crying with him, and I was just thinking to myself later that night, like, this is why I do it.
Yeah,
this is why I do it. Like, to think that I was there for him through tough times, I didn't even know it, and I just gave him a hug and just said, mate, like, anything you need, just. And I don't know, I've never seen that guy again. It's so sad. Like, you got to send me a message if you're watching this.
Hopefully he's watching.
I'm just like,
I can see that means a lot to you, the way that you're articulating that.
It was that from that moment on, it's like, I'm going to do everything for my audience. I'm going to produce as much as I can.
Yeah.
And provide everything in terms of content and work, because I know that I help people. You know, and some people that can't go to games, some people that are disabled,
of course,
being able to show them that feeling inside the ground. Like, let's say a Villa fan is disabled and couldn't go to the game at Aston Villa when they beat Bayern Munich in the Champions League, then they can feel like they can from my video. I've had a lot of stories like that. And I think that for me is so beautiful. Because if I was in a position where I couldn't go to games, I would do the exact same thing. I'd be watching the games online on YouTube and seeing what they're like. So you build that cult audience over the years, and that for me is probably one of the biggest reasons why I do it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You spoke about your audience there, and you have got a cult audience on YouTube. A lot of your videos perform to an amazing level. Tell us about the level you're at now then, and some of the highlights and the videos that you've been... Go on, just remind us of some of the names you've had on your channel. It's your chance to brag, Theo, now.
Wow, some of the biggest names. Oh, wow. Where do we start? Well, I went with Federico Chiesa to the Juventus game in his box.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was doing a series. He was building a series. I think it's on Netflix.
And he knew who you were, right? Am I right in thinking?
Yes, he did. So this was after the Euros, the lockdown Euros, and Italy-Spain. I went to that game. Italy-England as well.
Yeah.
He scored that incredible goal against Italy-Spain.
Yeah.
Where everyone puts the music over Spaghetti Mafia. You know, the TikTok went viral. So he built this amazing audience from that. People remember him for his Italy games, and I was there for a lot of his big ones. He'd watched my vlogs. So when he walked into the box and we were there, my mate was like, "Oh yeah, Fede Chiesa's just walked into our box," and I went in and shook his hand and said, "Oh, I've got a channel." He's like, "Oh no, I know you are."
Really?
I know. Now we follow each other on Instagram and
do you slip into his DMs?
Yeah, I sent him a message. Well, I wanted to go to Juve to watch him.
Yeah,
I'm friends with his brother as well, Lorenzo.
Yeah,
and since he went to Liverpool, the funny thing is that day we were speaking to him. If you were to not to say to leave Juve, but if there was a club in England that you'd favour, who would it be? He said Liverpool. Then we asked him Lampard, Scholes, or Gerrard, and he said Gerrard. Completely said Gerrard.
Wow.
That clip went everywhere. So people have probably seen that online.
Yeah.
Especially Liverpool fans have. I knew from that day, okay, if Liverpool's available, he's taking that. Now, if you don't know, Chiesa's dad was in football as well.
Yeah.
So they've always wanted to do the move that's right for them. He's from Florence. He's honestly a top kid. Like, brilliant lad. Like, he was talking to us. He had his girlfriend there. And he's spending all his time just talking to me and my mates. Like, just talking about random things in football. I feel like footballers don't get an opportunity to show their true personality. And that for that 90 minutes where the Juve game was on, he just spoke to us like mates down the pub.
Class.
Unreal.
So you're part of the reason Chiesa signed for Liverpool, or you saw it coming, should I say?
Well, people have seen the clip.
Yeah.
Agent T is what they're saying.
Take it. We'll run with it as a title.
Look, I think
Chiesa's a big one for you.
And Liverpool always look at characters, and I knew he was a great lad.
Yeah.
And Liverpool would have checked that, the background check.
Yeah.
And for sure they've seen that video too and thought, listen, he's giving all the right answers. So let's get him in.
It's because of Thogden. Other people you've had on your channel, go on.
Met Kaká, played Drogba.
Yeah.
Of course, met Lionel Messi.
Oh.
That was amazing, yeah. That was in Saudi Arabia for the Al Nassr Inter Miami friendly, but it was the day before the game and it was in his hotel.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, meeting Leo Messi.
Yeah.
How does that come about, firstly?
Well, it's very interesting. So I got a call from, he's got two agents. He's got one for Spanish speaking and one for the Saudi world, because he's actually a Saudi, he's the face of the Saudi tourism board.
Yeah.
And that obviously is Arabic. So his Arabic agent called me and said, look.
Called you directly?
Yeah. He called me directly through a contact in Saudi Arabia, someone that he basically said that I knew and I was in the country for the game.
Yeah.
And he was like, look, come to this hotel next week on this day. Messi's got time off, and we want to make him meet some of his biggest fans, people that really love him, people that really will get this opportunity and they might not ever get it again. And I was like, I think this phone call's fake. I think I'm going to wake up on the day and it's not going to happen.
You thought it was a prank, did you?
99% sure it wasn't going to happen.
Because you hadn't spoken to this person prior. So
exactly.
Right.
I was only there to cover the game.
Yeah.
And there was actually a lot of rumours that Messi might not play because he's injured, and Ronaldo as well. But Messi came back in time. Ronaldo didn't. So I was worried anyway. I was in Saudi. I was like, I come all this way, and it's not going to be the Ronaldo-Messi last showdown. It's not going to be the last dance. It's going to be a pointless game. And when I got that call, it was like, oh my God, everything's come to life. I'm here, and I've actually got this opportunity. Now, the background is this. I mean, during the streams, the lockdown era, I always backed Messi. Growing up as a kid, I was Barcelona because my dad took me on a Barcelona trip. Yeah. We got tickets from Idol Johnson, actually. Player. Yeah, my dad's actually got that contact, but he's friends with him, Idol Johnson. So we went to a Barca game when I was young. I was like watching Messi in the flesh from a young age. I think there's a photo I can show you.
Yeah.
From that moment on, he was my GOAT. Ever since that day, I've defended him. I was there at the Finalisma where they beat Italy.
Yeah.
I was there when Messi scored against Man City with that lovely goal where Mbappe sent it up in the Champions League.
Yes, yeah.
I was there to see him watch the World Cup, and that was after this moment too.
Yeah.
And I showed him all these videos when I got the opportunity to finally meet him. Yeah. And he was amazed. He was like, wow, this English guy. And obviously there is quite a lot of, he doesn't like to speak English because of what's going on. There's a bit of clashing between English and Argentinians. There always has been in football. But he was like, wow, this guy really knows and loves me.
This is what Messi said to you. So you walk in the door, you show him these videos.
Yeah, I show him these videos. So I wasn't allowed to record with him because there's too many people around him.
Yeah.
There's too many people deciding what.
So you weren't allowed to do a video with
him.
So
I took photos.
Yeah.
But they were on live.
Right, okay.
So it was able to play out.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was able to catch enough. But he does speak English.
Right.
And he did say words to me. And he did say that, like, just
So Leo Messi speaks almost fluent English or could understand what you were saying?
Completely understands and speaks some words.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's what nobody knows. He never speaks it. He never speaks it in front of a camera. And that's probably why I couldn't record it as well. I wasn't allowed to go into that room videoing. So only photos.
So you think his people don't like him talking English in interviews, but he can from what the dialogue you had with him?
100%. He can speak, but he never wants to. Wow. And maybe that's because of his Argentinian history.
Yeah.
You know, there's that's a Spanish-speaking country, and even in Miami, you go there, it's 60% Spanish. It's more Spanish-speaking than English.
Yeah.
So of course, he's been in some films in the US, and he said a few words like "bad boys," but I'm sure the amount he gets paid for that, it's a worthy opportunity to speak a few words in English, right? Yeah. But outside of that, nothing. Never taken an interview in English. Never.
Wow. So tell me about that interaction as you walked in.
Yeah.
I imagine you're a bit nervous in that situation.
I felt
most
like I was
nervous
dreaming.
you've ever been in your career so far? Would you say?
Yeah. I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. There's been a few moments in football stadiums where I've been nervous.
Right, for different reasons.
Yeah, for different reasons. But
in terms of meeting someone.
In terms of this might not happen, and I've come all this way for it, I really want it to happen. Please, please, please.
Yeah.
And even when we got to the hotel, it was like, okay, you guys are not coming in. You know, the bodyguards, and then you get through, and you eventually speak to them, and you're actually, no, we're here to meet them, and the agent brings you inside. So the Arabic agent brought me inside of the building. I was sitting in the reception. Even then, I was like, if this doesn't happen, I'm glad I got this far in. I got into the Inter Miami hotel. Yeah. Anyway, you get like Busquets going for breakfast, and you see like Suarez just going around with his yerba mate. And I'm like, wow, names. I shouldn't really go up to them because I want to wait for something bigger, but I really would want to. Yeah. And there's no one else in the hotel. They booked out the whole thing. Wow. It's insane. And then they were like, go down to the lower ground floor. And I was like, wow, okay, that's a bit abrupt. We'll do it. We're standing there with a few other fans, a few other people that connections that have come to meet Messi, and it was about 20 minutes, nothing happening, and then all of a sudden, Messi and his bodyguard come out the lift like a reveal yourself moment, you know, and he just walks out and he's smiling because he can see everyone's face light up, and it's just us. There's nobody else, and it was the most incredible.
When you say us, how many people in the room are you talking?
I'm talking like 7 or 8 people in the room.
That's incredible.
His agent, his bodyguard, Messi, and that's it. So anything that happens down in the lower ground floor, that's it.
That's it on the lower ground floor.
Yeah.
So that's VVIP. Tell us about the interaction then. So first thing you said to him.
First thing I said to him was, Leo, it's an honor to meet you. Is it all right if I get a picture?
You said that, yeah.
And he was like, yeah, it's okay. So I got a picture, and then I went to grab my Argentina shirt.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I've got the shirt. I bought it with the extra star since they won the World Cup. It's all right if you sign it. But first, I want to show you a video. I've actually been to some of your biggest matches in your recent career, and I showed him the 4 videos of the games that I mentioned earlier. Right. Winning the World Cup, winning Finalisma, doing great things for PSG. His best moment at PSG, arguably, when he scored against
City.
City.
Different areas, countries, and everything.
And I showed him all 4 in one montage. I wasn't really meant to do that. The agent was looking over like, you can't do that. But he was smiling, so that's it. Messi smiles, it's all good.
Yeah.
So from that moment on, when I got him to sign the shirt, he wrote Porra Theo con amor from Leo, all in Spanish.
Yeah.
It was.
What does that mean?
To Theo with love from Leo.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I had a personalized message.
Yeah.
I've got that framed on the wall now. It's the best moment ever. And it's got the little pictures that we got together below, and he's smiling. So it's like a real smile.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you meet your hero, your idol, and it doesn't really go as planned. Mine went 100% as planned.
Really?
I'm not even saying 99.9. I'm saying 100. Like, he was so nice to me. He didn't want to run away. He came down for us.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe
What's
it.
Lionel Messi like?
Well, he's very short.
I mean,
he's quite nimble. Like, he's really small.
Yeah.
I can see why he gets through people.
Yeah.
But he's like very giggly, very.
I've been in a room with him twice, actually.
Very bright.
But I've never done an interview with him. Okay. And one of the time I went thinking we were getting a chat with him, and it didn't manifest through no one's fault. It just didn't happen. And obviously I was gutted with that. And the other time I was at working at an El Clasico pitch side. So I've been in his presence twice, but I just felt the aura of, wow, the superstar.
The word is aura.
It's just like,
but
you're looking at a genius here.
I feel like
you just felt the presence. Do you know what I mean by that?
I don't know how to describe it. The presence is key. But you feel like he's a little kid on the inside, in the sense that he's just a lad that loves playing football. There's no ego attached. And whenever he sees something, true emotion come across. Like if someone shows him a magic trick, there's videos online, he loves it.
Yeah.
He's just a little kid that loves playing football. And he still is to this day. He doesn't care about the money. He doesn't care about the fame. He just wants to play football. That's it.
Yeah.
That's very different to some of the other players at the top of the game. And that's what I loved about him. And I felt the same thing when I met him. It was just, I showed him that I'd been to all these games and supported him for a lot of his career, even as traveling from England. And from that moment on, he wanted to give me all of his time. He wanted to speak to me more about my story.
Yeah. How were you after that? Anything else that he told you that you
I
haven't
put my head down. I was like, I can't believe it. Do you know what? I wanted him to sign my Bolton shorts, but I didn't. I forgot. I had it in the room, and I forgot to make him sign them because I was thinking that would be the only.
But he signed the Argentina shirt. Surely that's fine.
For me, that's great.
Did you tell him you're a Bolton fan?
No, I didn't. I told Vinicius Jr. I was a Bolton fan.
Right. Okay.
And he was like, "Oh, I've never met one before."
Did he?
Yeah, he's the next Ballon d'Or winner. So that's the next one. That's quite funny. But I don't want to. There was more to Messi because
is he one of the? What do you say? He's one of the nicest footballers you've met, Lionel Messi.
The nicest. Well, with Chiesa, them two, yeah.
Yeah.
Those two are the nicest stories I've had with footballers.
Yeah.
And also two of the biggest in the game.
Yeah.
So it shows you that these guys have real personalities behind all the cameras and the hype.
And even though you didn't do a 15-minute video with him, there's still imagery of you with Messi online. There is,
of course,
people knew that you saw him. So how did that? Did that?
Look, I mean,
build your brand to a different level because you've got, in your words,
established my brand. My brand was already built, but it showed the opportunity had come from all the hard work.
Yeah.
So all the travel, all the years of following him around, it all made sense now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd really been everywhere for him.
Yeah.
Wherever Argentina would go, PSG, Barcelona before, I would travel to watch the Champions League nights. And I would do it to support Messi. I wouldn't do it for the clubs.
Yeah.
And that's because he's my idol. So when I had that moment, it was like all of these efforts, worth it. And the long-term view is everything in life.
Yeah.
With everything you do. It's not about what happens on the day. It's about what you're building. And YouTube is like one big diary. So all the channel, I'm glad that I've got this channel because my kids one day can watch everything I did. If they
every
love football,
video. That's a long
They can watch
time.
whatever game they're interested in back in the day. Like nowadays you don't ever have this. Like YouTube is a new thing. But if there was a dad who had a channel 20 years ago.
Yes, I know what you mean.
And your kid grew up and was able to see everything you did in a younger generation.
It's amazing how far in advance you're looking at that.
Yeah. It's the bigger picture.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. I want my son to love football and see what I did.
Yeah.
And it's always going to be there.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. So I'm always making sure that's the archives. And moments like meeting Messi. I mean, hopefully my kid loves Messi because you never know. You never know what the idols change in new generations of football. But yeah, it's definitely that was the best day of my life for sure.
The best day of your life?
Oh,
singular.
Seeing Messi, yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was. And he'll go away remembering me. So if I ever see him again, maybe I do.
Do you think he will? Do you think Lionel Messi will go away remembering?
He never does meetups like that. He never does.
Do you think if you saw Leo Messi again, he'd remember who you were?
Yeah. There'll be a smile on his face. In fact, you'll see the clip when it happens, and tell me if you think that smile when he sees my face is genuine.
Okay.
From me. Because on that Saudi
he must meet
trip,
a lot of people.
on that Saudi trip, of course, people always coming up to him. But mine was a personalized, as you said, VVIP meeting. It was just me and a couple others, no one else. And we actually got a chance to interact. So it's not like all the wave. It's not like all the things going past him. It's like there's actually an only small amount of people that he is able to have a real face-to-face with, because there's so many people protecting him. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
So I think he will. Let's see.
Speaking of legends, you played in a unbelievable game in Qatar, is that right? Where
That's right,
playing, Conte was your manager.
Match for hope.
Go on, give us some of the names that were playing. I know Hazard
So I was
played.
playing with Kaká, Drogba. My manager was Conte. I was next to Makelele playing at the back. We were against us, had Eden Hazard, David Villa. We had, who else was against us? We had some mad players, to be honest. Roberto Carlos was there, but he didn't play for much. He was kind of just team talks of the opposition team. Wenger was their manager. So you can imagine. Yeah.
Who was the best player on the pitch of all of
them? Do you know what? The standout player. People will say Eden Hazard or David Villa. David Villa was playing Qatar Pro League.
Right.
And he just stopped.
So his fitness levels were high. Yeah.
I couldn't keep up with him.
Yeah.
And you could tell that was the pro versus
that doesn't surprise
level.
me.
And I was playing right back, and let's just say in these big, you're playing on a World Cup pitch.
Yeah.
And the sizes haven't changed. They won't make the pitch smaller. I couldn't run 90 minutes because I'm not physically built for it. It's a World Cup pitch.
And the level that you're playing
So by the time you've done about 20 minutes, and you've got David Villa and Eden Hazard running at you. And Eden Hazard has just retired. He'd been retired for about 6 months at that moment.
And he's younger than people. He's still in his early 30s. People, because he's retired, people forget that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
he could still be playing.
These guys run us ragged. But for the first few moments, we caught them early. They didn't know how we play. So, but when we got knackered, it was just you could see the difference between the legends.
So you're going to say Eden Hazard and David Villa were the standout players?
Well, I was playing against them.
Yeah.
But Drogba was a beast. He scored a worldie.
Yeah,
Young Philly played it through.
Yeah.
I was amazed by some of the quality of the creators as well.
Yeah, Billy Wingrove played as well.
He was going through a bit of an injury, but he found a way to play. He wanted to be there. He brought his family out.
He's got a wand of a left foot, Billy Wingrove, hasn't he? I've played in a lot of charity matches with him.
You're a really good player.
Well,
I watched your charity matches with Billy Wingrove actually a few times.
We're playing a few. So I'll use the term lightly, but celebrity charity matches, and me and Billy playing a few.
I want to play with you.
Thank you.
I'm not against you because I'm a right back / centre back.
Yeah,
and I know you'd be right up in my face. If
fitness is a bit struggling a bit now. I think you'll have me on the fitness level.
Match for hope if you ever get the chance.
Love to.
You have to go.
Yeah, if you can get me involved in that.
Yeah.
Definitely like to play in it.
And apparently they're making it big this year.
Are they?
I've heard some amazing things.
Put a shout in for me.
I will.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put in a shift in. I don't know if you've been to Qatar as well.
I've never been to Qatar. No.
The World Cup stadium.
No, we were covering it from Sky when the World Cup was there, so I didn't get to go out.
Half time. Like, even in the training match, Drogba and me are sat down just like talking tactics. The day of the game, half time, like I've done well on Eden Hazard. He hasn't scored on me yet.
You're saying, can you sign my Bolton?
Yeah, that was at full time. He actually did sign my Bolton shirt. He did at full time. I made him sign a Bolton shirt. I was like, I'm not going to miss out on this one. But at half time, Conte grabs me and he goes, hey, when Eden Hazard, when he's running at you, you give him space, okay? He does the first move. You don't do the first move.
Where's he from? And, I've seen the clip. It's brilliant. Yeah.
But like, I've got a GoPro on. It's still on. I'm like, God, I've not turned it off.
Yeah.
This moment, I feel like a pro footballer. I'm in a World Cup
dressing
dressing
room. It's unbelievable, yeah.
Conte's telling me how to deal with Hazard.
Yeah.
And I'm sat there, and I'm going around. Tim Cahill's going over, doing the boards. He's amazing, by the way. Tim Cahill, big football brain. Massive. I learned a lot from him.
Yeah.
Learned a lot from Tim Cahill.
Yeah, I've been with Tim Cahill. Lovely guy.
Passion. Like, there's no surprise Napoli are going to win the Serie A again this year. Like, I feel it. As a player, I want to be managed by Antonio Conte. And I'm just a creator. So to have that feeling of a footballer, why a manager has such a big impact, I'll never roast a manager again. You know, people
Really?
like to say, oh, it's the player's fault. Or now I know how important managers are.
Yeah.
Because when he riled me up at half time, he made me feel like Superman.
Yeah.
My legs were going and he made me continue. So I actually kept up the level way beyond I expected because Conte motivated me at half time and told me a few little things that worked.
And there's an amazing clip in that of on your GoPro footage. I watched it on the train here actually of the Hazard moment, Skinny, and you're just like, I just can't keep up. But to be fair to you, who can keep up with Eden Hazard?
Yeah, at that point.
But capturing that on camera, I know you're thinking, gutted, he scored against me, but that's actually amazing content.
Yeah, if you dive in, he's gone.
Yeah.
Left or right, even at his age.
Yeah.
But I held back a lot. and I allowed other people. So for a while, it worked. And if there's any loose ball, I'd go straight in. But when I was getting knackered, I was like, if he turns me, I can't keep up now. I have to dive in and gamble. I did. And for a couple of times, I was putting my ass.
Fair play.
But overall, a lot of people did say I played one of the best that day.
Yeah.
If you look at the 90 minutes.
I've seen you. I commentated on Pitch v Pitch.
Yeah, I was
RV
injured
Club.
that game. I was injured that game.
You've done all right.
I was injured, completely injured that game. I'd done my hammy. I played through it. Yeah.
Wow.
They just knew they had to have me for numbers. And we still lost. But, mate, I played through an injury that game. I was really holding it for most of the game.
I didn't know that.
So that's, I promise you, that's a percentage of what I can offer.
Wow. Okay.
For the next Match for Hope.
Yeah,
with Smithy,
clever.
coming soon.
Yeah, please. We mentioned some of the players. You mentioned Vinny Jr. there. You mentioned Drogba, Kaká, Messi.
Yeah.
I think it's also important to talk about some of the influencers that you've collaborated with on your channel.
Absolutely.
One of the big videos when I look at your channel, or I look at his video and your video, is the one with Speed. Can you tell us about that idea? If people haven't seen this video, just explain for those that haven't seen it what the idea was behind it.
To narrow down the full video, to make the story a lot shorter.
Yeah.
I went to the Charlton match, the Sidemen charity match against YouTube All Stars. So funny seeing Mr. Beast at Charlton Athletic asking me where to go around the He literally, he was lost and he didn't know where to go in Charlton Athletic Stadium. He was asking me in the valley, like, where do I go? So funny. But anyway, I knew that day I wasn't playing, which I was gutted about. And I was like, okay, what can I do for content? Oh yeah, I can get one of the creators to do something. Oh, I don't know. I'm going to make Speed sign my paper that says, because I know he's not going to read it, that says Messi's better than Ronaldo, because I'm massively Messi.
And he's massively Ronaldo.
Yeah, and people knew that. He knew that. He knew who I was.
And so everyone knows that Speed is a Ronaldo fan, obviously.
Massively. That's what got him into football. That's what got him playing in these games. But he's never played football growing up.
Yeah.
So you can tell. After the game, he had a massive story of playing football. The adrenaline was rushing through, and I was quick to go up to him so he wouldn't look too much at the paper.
Yeah.
And he signed the sheet.
And you just took, just as sort of people that don't know, he didn't know what this wasn't staged or anything like that.
Oh no, of course not.
He didn't read it. The cameras that you did it very off the cuff. I've seen it many times.
My mate filmed it. Yeah. And he's just like knackered. He's like sitting there going, oh.
But it's not you going, there's a camera here, can we just film something for content? No. He doesn't know the camera's there.
No,
you're just doing that genuinely.
I'm just doing it asking for his signature.
Yeah.
And then you open the sheet and it says, this confirms, insert, full named him, Darren Watkins. This confirms Darren Watkins Jr. agrees with Thogden that Messi is better than Ronaldo, and for the foreseeable future, he will confirm. All very clever words. He's even got the location in the corner, the Valley, Charlton, whatever.
Yeah.
It's so well done.
Yeah.
I made that and I thought, if I get this signature, I've got a banger. And the moment I did it, I knew he'd react, and he did. And it was amazing. I think there was like 100,000 live viewers, which for live viewers is one of the biggest in the world. And he's watching my video whole way through. And he's calling me this Messi looking ass, like in his American accent. He's like, this dude got me to sign this. And he's like, he was telling me, he was like, should I call the cops right now? Should I call the cops right now? And he was, obviously, he's amazing at what he does, playing up to the cameras. Like, he's so funny. I was laughing at it. All my friends were talking about it. They were there at the time. And when they saw the video, him reacting to it. So the next time I saw him in Qatar for the World Cup, he was in the same sort of like pre-area lounge that I was in. And he was actually kind of found it funny with me, but he was kind of calling, he's like, you're a weird dude. You're weird. Like, why do you make me do that?
Do you think that he liked it because it was good content, or do you think he was pissed off with it?
He was a bit annoyed that I got one up on him.
Yeah.
But
so he didn't see it coming at all, genuinely didn't see it coming.
Completely. No. Actually, at the point of the signature, he didn't know who I was as well.
Wow.
So that, it was a
made
big
it
video.
more believable that you'd ask for a signature because he didn't know who you were.
I've also made more people, all my audience, know that he's a massive Ronaldo fan.
Yeah.
I'm a massive Messi fan. And that's always been the battle for years. I've always protected him. There's been viral clips of me saying, oh, Ronaldo's going to miss this and Messi's going to score this, and other things have happened. So when I met him again, I could tell there's a little bit of annoyance that I've won up to him. I'm sure he's going to try to do something in the future if he sees me. Yeah,
and the next time he saw you, what did he say about that video? How did
he was just like, doesn't count, dude. Doesn't count. Like, he was trying to convince me that this contract doesn't mean anything. Yeah. But I've still got it. So
what's Speed like? I've never met him.
Do you know what? He's a very different person when the cameras are off. Because
is he?
It's a big facade. Yeah, it's a big
Is it really?
act.
Right.
Yeah, and he's amazing at it. You know, he's brilliant. A load of energy, full on, wherever he goes, shows the love, travels. His work rate, oh my God. Like, there's photos of him in airports after his long streams and trips. And, you know, what he's done amazing is adapting his content. You know, I said earlier on in the stream about trying something new when I went to the streams away from the football vlogs. What he does is amazing. He was in Madden and Madden streaming. And the Madden streaming wasn't getting that many views. So he went into more streaming, games, horror games, playing FIFA, playing different things. And when he started mentioning Ronaldo, he started getting a lot more views, of course. So he realized, let's keep doing it. Let's play some more FIFA. Let's look at football. Let's look at my Reddit where there's football highlights.
That's where the audience was.
That's what he went into football.
Yeah.
When the audience was there and people liked it as part of his character. Right? And that was all before his IRL streams thing. Then he started doing IRL streams. And by the way, when he goes to the streets and starts random stuff, that's not even football related. He's just interacting with people. He kept changing his style. Then he would do the football challenge. Then he would do the real life football charity matches. He would do so many different things that he built an audience in so many different parts of the world and for different things.
Yeah.
So mine's just purely football. I love football. I'm not sure I could do what Speed does.
So do you not think football and Ronaldo is his passion then? Or do you think
No, it is. But he realized he got the audience. Now it's time to move on. Let's do IRL streams. Let's go to Athens and stream my experience of the city trying a gyros. He realized that he's got the audience there. Okay, now let's move on, try new things. That's what I find amazing. He's got a big brain for that.
Has he?
Yeah, he's not just decided to settle with what he always does.
Right.
Decided to try something new. And I don't know if it's him or the people around him. Yeah. Now he's got a massive team around him, of course. But that has helped create probably the biggest name in not just football, but the YouTube industry, full stop. The amount he generates.
Think he is the biggest name in YouTube right now?
Yeah. Because the amount he gets per stream, live, he'll get like 200, 300,000. And he's such a character and he's able to do that every day in a new country. It's incredible.
You mentioned his work. I want to pick up on two things there. His work rate. Do you think he's the hardest working of any YouTuber you've seen?
Hardest
and give me an insight into what that involves. Just travel, just streaming,
he'll stream
relentless.
Yeah, he'll stream for 3-4 hours in Singapore. And then he'll fly to Thailand and stream for 3-4 hours the next day.
Yeah.
And then he'll take another flight to Indonesia and fly for and stream that same day for 3 hours. And he'll do all this whilst he's on the move and travel all in the same day because he knows how important it is to be constantly, interacting with your audience in a small space of time. And he says on streams, he's doing a flight a day and he's still working. It's amazing. Like streamers have this incredible power to. It's like with a podcast. You have to keep the interest up for an hour straight. Yeah. But for them, it's 3 hours or 4 hours. And you can't have
the energy levels on that.
There's not one space at any cock up.
Yeah.
One cock up and the world goes for you. If Speed does anything wrong on a live, that's it. He's gone. That's it. He's gone. He's done. There's people waiting to hate on that guy. And it's so sad. I mean, it's like anyone with an audience. But the skill it takes and the way he adapted into different worlds, it's incredible. Yeah. I give him all the credit he deserves. All the credit. He smashed it.
And what's he like off camera then? You said
he's really down to earth.
Is he just really chilled, low energy off camera?
Low energy, just like spends time with his family and his dog. And like from the times that I met him at the World Cup in Qatar, and also after games and charity matches, he's just very chilled out, wants his own space. Yeah, like anyone else.
It's interesting there you say people are ready to hate on him, and you said that happens with a lot of people who are at a certain level. It brings me quite nicely onto the next section, because I wanted to talk about you as a YouTube persona, if you don't mind. You've got a channel, and I'm going to give you credit here. You've got, you're pushing nearly 2 million subs on your channel. You regularly get over 100K, 200K, 300K. Your videos and your strategy is incredible.
Thank you.
On that.
Yeah.
But you also are someone that I see that does get quite a bit of hate on social media platforms. Is it fair to say you sort of have a love-hate relationship with social media? How do you judge that persona that you have online? Do you think that's a fair thing for me to say?
It's funny because I see a lot of the hate and I laugh at it and I love it.
Do you?
Yeah, I actually really enjoy it.
Does it not affect you at all?
No, not at all.
Really?
I know it sounds crazy, but I know that when people talk about me online and I truly know, it kind of builds the brand. I learn about this in business. But when people are talking about you, whether it's good or bad, people have an opinion on their favorite pundits. People have an opinion on their favorite YouTubers. We just talked about Speed or KSI or Chunks or any of them. The bigger you get, the more you have to handle it. But the funny thing is, because I've grown up on football, and I used to be the guy who used to go online and hate on people. I had a time when I was like that.
Yeah.
So I know what these people are like. And now I see the tweets, and I'm just laughing at them. I love it.
Does it not affect, honestly, doesn't affect you in any way?
There was times...
You love it. So if you get trolled online, it doesn't affect you at all?
Well, I mean, two things. People are talking about me, and it does help my channel. More people are talking, more people are watching. But also, I think a lot of it's quite funny. And I think in a world where you can't say or do a lot online. You can't do things online. I understand why people can feel hatred towards me and the world we live in, where I literally live and work football, and my fan base is football. And we know that football fan bases can be very toxic. So I've learned to love it.
I don't mean fans can be quite tribal about
and I know that people like to have a laugh. They like to say things about me, whether it's true or not. And I really have learned to actually really enjoy. I read it all, and I don't react, of course. I stick to, but I understand that the world that I'm in, either you handle it and you get on with work, or it makes you collapse and makes you change, and change for the worse. You know, I spoke about adaptation in a good way, but I'm saying it stops what you love. I still love what I do after years of people trying to cancel me, because when I see comments online about me, I almost think, wow, like that's, you know, I either find it funny if they're trying to make a joke about me, or if they're really trying to cancel me, I almost feel like, well, it's amazing that people are going so far speaking about me. Like they're sat there in the middle of the day going, that's Thogden's on their mind, which I find amazing, because all I'm doing is like I enjoy just going to football games and taking people with me. That's my thing.
When you say there, people trying to cancel you for years, does that not, that doesn't have any effect on you? So it doesn't bother you?
No. Oh, come on. Like, we're in the world of social media. We're in the football fan base world. There's not a more toxic part of the planet. I love it. I want to get more. I mean, if I didn't have it, I think there'd be a problem. I think if I didn't get hate...
You want to get more hate, did you say?
Look, it's not that I want more. It's more that, like...
Don't say that on a live podcast, obviously.
No, but it's like, it really doesn't affect me. And I enjoy seeing it, because if I didn't get it, I think there'd be a problem.
Really?
Like, I work in football. Smithy, I'm sure you've had the same.
Yeah, do you know what? I'll be brutally honest with you. I mean, I'm someone that's been quite open about my mental health and stuff. Is that you get a lot of praise when you do an interview. When you get the odd comment about how you look or you sound, or it sometimes does affect me. I'm just being honest, does affect me.
And it used to be the same.
Maybe that's because I've had issues with my own mindset in the past. I don't know if that's something separate, but it's a whole other podcast talking about that. But I just think it's very ingrained in us as humans to claw to the negativity. It's harder to forget those than it is the nice comments. So if you can shut them out, obviously that's great for you.
I don't know if it's just me, but I think I've adapted over the years. We talk about adaptation a lot in this podcast.
Yeah, we have,
And I think after years of people, you know, kind of joking about me and stuff in school, online, whatever, I know who I am, and I'm able to just laugh it off. I'm able to just have a laugh about it with my friends, with my family, doesn't matter. And the next day I'll still wake up and make the same quality content, if not better. Because if I didn't have that mentality, I wouldn't be able to get to almost 2 million subscribers without
it. motivates you in a way.
It does. It really motivates me. I love
Where
it.
do you think it stems from? Like what? Because what I find interesting, I look at your comments on your YouTube channel. You've got such a cult following of people loving it.
It's amazing.
Then I look at posts that you put on X or Instagram, and there's people that really give you quite a lot of stick for.
But it shows you that the people that are actually watching my content are enjoying it. Because if I start to get YouTube comments about people hating on me, then I think, okay, now it's time to take this serious. Like, I need to act upon it. But if people are hating on me on Twitter and Instagram, I think it's sometimes I agree with them, sometimes I find it
you
funny.
think sometimes the criticism is fair?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Really?
Smithy, if I wasn't who I am and I looked in and I was a Bolton fan and I saw this guy going to all these matches around the world, he travels, it's his job, and he watches football.
And you get that a lot, don't you? About the fact that you're paid to go to games and you're in corporate. That's something that's
definitely,
you get a bit.
And I understand. I understand why people hate me. I take myself. What I like to do, Smithy, is I like to take myself out my own shoes and realize how grateful I am in the moment, and realize that I need to keep smashing it, or this will change. And that's why it motivates me, because it reminds me of how lucky I am when I see hate.
Yeah. Wow. How does it affect your family? You said about because obviously your mum and your sister aren't in this world.
They don't see it, really. They're not in the world.
Your dad is in this world, though. So I imagine your dad sees it.
Smithy, I'm really close with my family.
Yeah.
It's like a completely different part of the world that nobody sees. Like my mum, I'm like best friends with. My dad, I'm publicly best friends with.
Yeah.
You know, my sister, I barely see, but when we're together, we're always having a laugh. You know, I already said about my grandma from a Russian side. I love her to bits, and same with my English grandma and granddad. He's a Bolton fan. Went with him to games until he couldn't. His eyesight went, so he couldn't go anymore. So family means everything to me. But to answer your question, in
terms of how it affects your family as well.
Yeah,
because it's interesting that half of your family are in this.
Yeah, my dad
and
is.
And your mum and your sister aren't in it. So
it's just my dad. So my dad obviously sees like the online stick.
Yeah.
I think it used to affect him more than me. And now he doesn't care either. He understands that, you know, you go to YouTube and you see the comments and you see the support. you see who watches the videos, who actually watches it. You know, people who hate, they haven't actually seen the video.
Right, okay.
And I'm like, well, how can you hate on something without, first of all, meeting the person and actually not watching the content? That's why I don't take your point seriously. Yeah. So therefore, I laugh it off and I smile. And I wake up the next morning and realize I'm going to continue what I lived and fought for my whole life. I spent 11 years getting to the point where I am today, every day working. It's not going to stop.
Yeah. I love that mentality. Can I ask you about the Thogden brand? Because you've got Thogden, Thogdad.
Yeah.
And then I see on your Instagram, sometimes you're tagged in it and it's Thog Dog, Thog Uncle Stuart, Thog Uncle Steve. Like, so
they love
is this all part of the brand? Is that we're going to see more Thog people appear?
Smithy, you're giving me ideas here. You're giving me ideas. I mean, my uncle was a massive Leeds fan and I was able to surprise him.
Thog Uncle Stuart, is that?
Thog Uncle Stuart. I surprised him with tickets to go to Leeds, Southampton. For the playoff final. Obviously wasn't one to remember in the end.
Yeah, of course.
But he massively loves the channel. And he's actually comes to a lot of Oldham games. My dad and my uncle have a massive Oldham connection because that's where their grandparents were from.
Right.
So we sometimes go to like non-league games. We went to Weldstone non-league together in international break. And it's basically just an opportunity to catch up with family and go to some football. My cousin Elliot is, he lives in London as well. And sometimes my uncle will travel across London just to watch my Sunday league games. We're all really close. Like we all love football and we're all really close. And I definitely think in the future it could be a good opportunity to get them involved in content because they love it and they're great characters for the channel. So it's a good idea for you. It's a good idea. Yeah. You brought me something now. I didn't realize with it.
The whole Thog family. Yeah. And in terms of the early days when it was Thogden and Thogdad, how did your dad become involved and how did that affect the family dynamic when you were living? It was you, your sister, your mum and your dad. Is your dad and yourself just saying to your mum and your sister, "Oh, we're going away this weekend and next weekend and next weekend"? I mean, how does that?
Yeah, that's why
that must be challenging for your mum and your sister.
Yeah, at first my dad really was involved in it. Now he likes to value his time differently. He gives me some trips, but then he'll save his time for the bigger trips, and then when he has opportunities elsewhere, he'll do other things. Yeah. You know, now he's going to give a bit more time to my mum back now.
How does your mum react though with him transitioning from that?
She understands it's my work and his work partly. Yeah. You know, and it's so important that I've chased my dreams. She chases her dreams in her own way with her art, and she writes books as well. And it all goes over my head. It's all about philosophy, but my mum's very much a creative person. Right. And I'm very much 50-50 of my dad and my mum. Yeah. And what I said earlier in the podcast about my dad being very numerical and finance, work, hard work. I learned that work ethic from him, but a creative side from my mum, where I'm able to learn and adapt from seeing content and making it mine and building up my personality. And that's probably their mix is what made me the perfect, like, set for YouTube. Like, just that's what I want to do.
Do you think they'll ever get into YouTube, your sister or your mum?
No.
Why
did
you laugh at that question?
No, I can't imagine
I've never met them.
I'm just a different person to them. Like my sister's.
How would you feel if your sister started the channel and she became bigger than you?
I'd support her.
Love it, yeah.
I love it when people do. People that I know do better than me. I love it.
Yeah.
I've seen so many people overtake me. Yeah. And I love it. I've been in the game 10 years. You know, I'm just enjoying the wave, to be honest. Yeah. And I have a smile on my face every day. Yeah. And I'm really close to my family. And to think that it's my job and I'm doing something I love, for me is everything.
To do something you love, I totally agree. Is if you do something you love, it's amazing. I'm lucky to do something I love as well.
Yeah.
What are the best and worst bits about working with your dad so closely? Like, what's the best thing you like, and what's the biggest? I won't say worst. That's like the biggest.
No. I'll say the worst first.
Okay, go on.
That he's so. Whilst I'm very spontaneous, he's very structured.
Right.
If we have a plan, you have to stick to it. Yeah. There's been times where I've missed a train. Or I've missed a flight, maybe 1 or 2 times, or I've missed, or a video that I've got maybe gone out for a few drinks the night before, and I've not come in on time. We've planned a video to do, and he gets angry at me, and we'll have like a full-on, you know, it might kick off a little bit, you know. But the best thing about it is that I'm so close to my dad, and I've seen his true colours from working with him, and I've learned a lot from him working with him. So he's taught me things that university couldn't, school couldn't. My friends couldn't, because there's something about working with a family member that means that there's no cheating involved. There's no lies. There's no fake. If you deliver or you don't, there's a reason. There's no hiding it. You can't sneakily, you know, when you do work, when you do business, I'm sure some of you guys do business with a sibling or a pet or a parent or whatever it is. If it's family, you do it for each other.
Yeah.
And there's nothing in the way of that. And that's what I've learned with my dad. I've learned he really will do a lot for me.
I'm sure I love listening to that. It's a really nice... I like the way you told the worst bit first, but then you ended with a positive to outweigh the negative.
No, I appreciate you bringing that up.
I'm sure we'll love hearing that. I've met
your
your
dad
as well.
All the little things, all the negatives
He's very family-oriented
as
well, isn't he, your dad? Because I've met your dad as well, and I remember doing a video for you hitting a landmark on your channel. I could just tell he was so proud of you for that, and that must be
Smithy,
that must be lovely for him.
I can't say enough. Like, I don't know if you'll watch this. Maybe you won't.
Well,
probably doesn't know how to click on it. But I'll send it to him. I'll make sure he does. I didn't mean that in a rude way to you. He's just he's a bit of a boomer
completely
sometimes.
Bugged me off.
Sorry, he's a bit of a boomer sometimes.
No, I know what you mean.
But like, I wouldn't be where I am without him. I can't stress that enough. And as I got older, I've realised that. So I love quite emotional.
I can sense you getting emotional about that. I just want to sort of end with like just encapsulating some of the best moments. You've been to so many games, so many players, so many fan bases. So it's sort of a quick fire way to end it in terms of your biggest
Saturday
moment.
social style. I love this. I'm ready. I'm trained for this.
Best game you've ever experienced.
Do you know
one game?
People won't believe that I say this, but Dortmund. I think when Dortmund beat PSG 3-1 and Haaland got a brace or a hat trick. I think it was a hat trick.
You love Dortmund.
It was the first moment on the scene. Yeah, Dortmund Stadium, best in the world.
Yeah. First
of all. Secondly, I recently went to Boca River. Are we doing a top 5 or just one?
No, we're going to come to that.
Okay, sorry.
This is best game.
Stay tuned. This is great for the retention for you, Smithy. I'm going to say, the best game is when Dortmund beat PSG against the odds. Yeah. Haaland smashed it. I think Bellingham's just broke onto maybe he wasn't even there at the time.
Yeah.
Neymar was fuming at the referee all game because that was prime Neymar.
Right.
Mbappe was there. Messi wasn't. So it was very early on.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the video got over 1 million views. It was massive.
Best video you've ever done on your channel?
I'm going to say the charity match where I put a GoPro on my chest. Buying that GoPro for 100 quid on Amazon was the best decision I ever made.
When Hazard skinned you in that one, yeah.
Yeah, like I bought the stand and the GoPro just for that game.
Yeah.
And
it is a great video, though.
No, but the insight, no camera in the world can take what I filmed.
Yeah.
That was it. Like Hazard running at you.
Point of view.
Yeah. That POV angle.
It's almost like you let him score because of the content. It's clever, that. Best person you've had on your channel?
I love this guy.
Best person you've had on your channel. Could be an influencer, could be a player.
Influential. Hard to get past Messi, Having Messi on the channel,
I bet,
is iconic.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's someone that's I've got. You know what? Maybe Casper Lee.
Casper Lee, yeah.
He saved my channel.
Why did he save?
He's
the
a
channel?
really good person, Casper Lee. He was a big YouTuber back in the day. Still is. But he's more into business now. I learned a lot from him. But he was the one who actually contacted YouTube when my channel. I had a fallout with my previous manager when I was a lot smaller. I was a really small YouTuber, and he contacted YouTube directly to save my channel. And I'd already had an email from YouTube saying it's gone, it's permanently deleted. And it was permanently deleted because the manager that I fell out with had deleted it, and he pretended to be me to log back in and delete it. Now, if it wasn't for Casper Lee, when I was on about 35,000 subscribers, I would not have this channel today.
If it wasn't for Casper Lee, you would not have your channel.
I would have disappeared into the unknown. I'd have to start from scratch, and I don't think I'd have had the time before university to get to where I am today. So Casper Lee is the reason where I am today. So in terms of, I love that question, influential. Wow. Casper Lee, mate, big up.
Great story.
Yeah.
Worst or scariest moment you've had?
Scariest moment. It's hard to get past Bulgaria.
Yeah.
When they had racist fans, they were literally doing Nazi salutes in the stadium, and this was on TV. And being in that stadium thinking, they left early. Yeah. So all the England fans were thinking they're going to be waiting outside.
Did you get chased?
I was actually live streaming as I left, and then the stream cut. But when we got to the other side of Sofia, the capital, it was all fine. It was all okay until we got to the hotel, and we were speaking quite loud in English, and some people saw us and we legged it into the hotel. That was definitely one of the most scariest moments.
Were you fearful there?
I legged it with my dad, and we were with a couple other Bolton fans as well, and we were all very scared. Wow. But we were all safe. We were all fine. But in that moment where there's nobody around, luckily a police car rolled up nearby, and they made the ultras run away. So if it wasn't for that, we were fine. That's the scariest moment for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in terms of, what was it, happiest moment?
No, scariest moment. That was it, yeah.
Yeah, just scariest, yeah.
Top 5 atmospheres now. So best fans or games you've been at in reverse
best
order.
Best fans.
So 5th best.
5th best.
Because you travelled all over the world. So let's go global with this.
We'll go River Plate in 5th. Yeah, they're better than Boca. That's an unpopular opinion.
Wow.
And it's facts. They get 90,000 in their stadium every week. Yeah. And Boca get 57k. Okay. And they're louder. They are louder.
River Plate in 5.
Yeah, River Plate in 5. I'm going to put Dortmund in... Dortmund. Loudest.
Best fans,
Best fans.
atmosphere,
Yeah.
culmination of everything that you've travelled around the world. You got River
Dortmund
Plate
is
in 5.
3.
Okay.
4th would have to be. Do you know what I'm gonna? When I was in the away end, Bolton's difficult because our stadium is smaller.
Yeah.
I don't think he gets in the top 5. But worldwide, I've been to some absolutely insane matches.
Yeah.
I'm gonna actually put Colombia 4th.
Colombia
as a national
team.
When they travelled to Russia, and we played them, and they filled out the stadium. It was only a tiny
penalty
section.
shootout, England, Colombia.
I realised what South American football fans are like.
Okay, I like
they
this
all got in our face.
top 3. So you've gone.
We got 5. So 5 we got River Plate.
Yeah. 4
Argentina.
Colombia.
4 Colombia. 3rd we got Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah.
The videos speak for itself.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yellow wall. Jamie Carragher.
I agree. Yellow was incredible. Yeah.
2nd and 1st. I know what 1st is going to be.
Okay, what's 2nd?
2nd. Let me think about some of the amazing derbies I've done across the world. Second. Do you know what? I'm going to go. I wanted to put Leeds in the list because when I was at Ellen Road with Bolton away, they were up there. But I'm not sure. They would be like a 6th place.
Okay.
Because I've done a lot of travelling.
Yeah.
Name a country where you think there's good fans. And I'll tell you if I've been there.
I'd say, South America.
Do you know what? AC Milan were insane.
AC Milan.
For the Milan derby.
So they're in 2?
I think we'd have to shift the rest down and they go to 5.
Okay, go on. So
the 4-2 where just before lockdown, 4-2 classic Milan-Inter.
Yeah.
When I was at the game, I was so good I had to go back. And then Rafael Leao played incredible. They won 3-1 against Inter. San Siro, when the whole place is rocking, is one of the most special matches in football.
Okay.
And I've documented that. Oh, I forgot, but I know my 2nd now. I put Milan 7th.
Okay.
2nd is Red Star Belgrade.
Ooh.
Without a doubt. In the Maracana.
Yeah.
Oh, the Serbs are built different.
I want to know your number 1 then. So
my number 1.
Better than all of this.
Better all of this.
Best atmosphere, best fans in the world.
Is Raja Casablanca of Morocco.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did not expect that.
They are insane. They live and breathe football in their green and white. I went to a derby, and I can't really speak about Wydad, their rivals, because the derby I went to, the Casablanca derby, had 50% fans allowed, only Raja, but they never stopped. They had a green light torch aimed at my eyes the whole time because I was pitch side. They had green fireworks flying in. They had the players, when they scored, the players loved the fans so much they run over. There's a massive running track. They run over the length just to touch them, feel the passion. Honestly, the Casablanca derby is the craziest game in football I've been to so far.
Wow.
It's better. It was more crazy than Boca River.
Wow.
It was more crazy. Moroccans are mad for football.
Yeah.
Raja Casablanca is like the 20% that are just insane.
Yeah.
They're all mad.
Wow.
And like usual clubs has an ultra stand and the rest is just like normal seats. Everyone's fine.
Yeah.
Their whole thing is ultras.
Wow.
Their whole thing is just craziness.
I feel like
you have to go.
I feel like I've learned a lot from that actually, and there was a few surprises.
Smithy,
in
come
there.
with me to Casablanca. You will see.
And I think it's like the perfect note to end it. Just finally, just what you'd like to say to people. Thank you so much for coming on. Firstly, Theo,
no, you're a
you've come down here. You've travelled. I really appreciate it. So huge thank you. Congratulations on everything you're doing. I just wonder what you'd say, and to people that might see a different side of you, or that think that. Do you think that some people do misunderstand you? Do you think that's fair? And what you'd say to people on that?
Look, everyone's allowed an opinion. If you don't like me, that's fine. I really don't mind it. I don't mind the hate at all. I would just say on a different note that if you have a dream in life, don't have any reason to hold yourself back. Wake up and start. Just go and smash it. If you've got something you really want to do, just wake up and get on with it. And don't let anything get in the way. And I think that's on the same sort of point as what you're referencing to.
Great advice.
Because that's the advice I've taken all my life. And that's my dream. And being able to almost get close to what I dreamt of as a kid has been the most satisfying thing in the world. I almost don't know what to do next. It's at that sort of point, like where I'm like, as a kid, I just loved football and loved wanting to do work in it, and I can do that now, and it's magic. So on the come up, the dream is the come up, the dream is the growth, the dream is working every day in something that you love, the dream is going to football and traveling and going everywhere, and that is for me what other people have in other things, and don't let anything stop you. Ignore all the wind. Ignore all the BS, the rubbish, because there's a lot of it. There's a lot of people who would like the easy way in life, and that is just go online and hate on someone else, when really it's like the iceberg. All the behind the scenes, all the hard work.
Don't see the other side.
They don't see that. And that with that mentality that I've just spoken of, you'll get that.
Yeah.
So I promise you, anyone watching this video, have any dreams in life, you can achieve it by just getting up every day and sticking by it. Tunnel vision. That's all I have to say.
It's the great note to end it, because my next question was going to be advice, and you've just answered that, and I think it's brilliant. I'd just like to echo what I've just said. You've come down here. on your own accord. You live a long way away. You've done me a huge favour coming on, so I've got a lot of respect and love for you for that. And mate, congratulations on all you're achieving in the channel, and I hopefully catch up with you again soon.
Thank you. And you've made me come away with this with such a smile on my face as well.
Thank you, mate.
Like, we always speak so well together from Sky Sports to here, so it's an honour. Thank you. I've got to shake your hand.
Man.
On air.
Top man.
There we go.
Yeah.
Cheers,
Love
guys.
It. What an air.